What's going on, guys? Want to make a hopefully brief but informational video here for some of you youngsters. I know there's been a big push for wanting to get a classic car, or some of these kids call it an old school ride. I don't know when or where that term came from, but it's out there. So hopefully give you some tips on what you're actually getting into. Definitely don't want to be discouraging anybody, but just make sure you do your homework before you get into something like this. So the first thing you want to remember is that this is not a vehicle built to today's conveniences. This is a machine. It's basically set up to do what you tell it to do, and that's all it's going to do. If you don't have the right information to give it, it's going to give you, some problems, maintenance problems. Let's hop in here real quick. So for starters, these cars didn't come with any remotes. So again, back to the conveniences. You're locking and unlocking your door every single time you get in and out. Needs some work still. Anything you buy, whether it's completely done or needs some work, it's gonna need you by far. This car I bought already came with a Dakota digital gauge, which I actually had to get working because none of the functions worked. They put this thing together and I guess they got lost somewheres in it. Put in the stereo myself. My son and I put the carpet in. The carpet was thrashed. I'll put some pictures up here just to show you. Interior still needs some work. Headliner needs to be replaced. This car came stock, all power windows, power seats, power door locks, power sunroof. Everything you see here plastic wise, regarding plastic, all the plastic against the walls was all in the trunk, even the headliner. So my son and I took everything out. We got the paint. He redid the plastic. You can see the paint's coming off again. We didn't really use the right paint, but we just did something quick to get it going. Got all the windows working, got all the seats working. So I guess here's another big step with a classic. They don't always fire right up every single time you put the key in and fire it. You ever heard the term someone called, give it a couple pumps, pump it a couple times? This is what they're talking about. So we got it fired up. One thing with these cars is, unlike your newer cars of the day, whether you drive a Honda, Toyota, you want to run around in a little flashy Camaro or a Challenger, whatever you got, you can't fire this thing up, put it in gear and go. You have to let this car warm up. These cars can take anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes to warm up. Mine is particularly long. This is a 78 Monte Carlo with a 305 V8. It takes about 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes. So one thing to really have with these cars is patience. You have a lot of patience. You really have to know cars, or unless you got money to pay a mechanic. But they're going to be needing constant maintenance all the time. The weather changes, the timing changes. The weather affects parts, they constrict, they contract. So you're constantly adjusting the carburetor, air fuel mixtures, constantly checking the timing. Something that I've shown my son to do. So my son's 19. He can put this car in time. He can pull the carburetor off, rebuild it. Change spark plugs, whatever he's got to do. So in this type of car, start having problems, and you look down here, and guess what? No OBD2 sensor. So what do? Well, you're the OBD2 sensor. You're the one that has to figure this out. How to fix this car. So let's take a quick look here under the hood. This is your typical General Motors 5.0 305 cubic inch V8. And again, you're the one figuring out the problem with these cars. So, my main purpose for this video is not to discourage you, but just so you know what you're getting into. Like I said, my son and I have done a lot of the work on this car. That's actually his car that we're working on, 79 Monte Carlo. And again, it's not to discourage you, just so that you understand what you're getting into. They are definitely a joy to drive. They turn heads wherever you go. It's a different animal, and they're really, really cool. The classics. But like I said, you can buy one that's completely done up, and no matter how done it is, it's going to constantly need work. From anywhere from vents to the stereo installation, to the AC, the heat, the steering. Me and my son have had this dash completely yanked out, all the wires exposed, all the heating boxes exposed, trying to find a short, and it's things like that. This one right now is having a problem with the lock. Passenger side locks, the driver's side doesn't. So I've already determined that it's the lock cylinder inside the door panel that needs to be changed out. This window control, it doesn't lower the passenger side window. It'll pick it up, but it won't go down. So I'll constantly needing maintenance. But anyways, hopefully it's something that'll help you, give you something to prepare for. Like I said, I don't want to discourage you. If that's what you're after, go for it. The way I learned to work on cars is actually getting into them and working on them. That's the only way you're going to learn, is to actually get into them and start working on them. But if you got any questions, shoot me some questions down in the comments. If you buy something, people say, get an LS swap, an LT swap, you won't have that many problems. Yeah, but now you're looking, 3 to 5, maybe even 10 grand, into a car. But you're still dealing with, 30, 40, 50-year-old car that is still going to need help somewhere else. All the wiring is getting brittle. You may have electrical problems that your swap can't fix. So anyways, hope this helps. Again, if you got any questions, this in particular is a 78 Monte Carlo. This is what they call a G-body. GM made vehicles in certain categories is based on their size, their frame size. and it follows the term General Motors. So you make, the least amount of frames as possible, and all you do is make different, basically, bodies for them. Engines, motors are the same, wheelbases are the same, but just the way they look is different. Just like your typical current day Toyotas. Lexus is made by Toyota. Everything underneath is the same as a Toyota and a Lexus, just the bodies look different. The styles, 2-door, 4-door, coupe, convertible, whatever the case may be. So these are all G bodies: Monte Carlo, Grand Prix, Regal, Cutlass Supreme. They're all G bodies, and pretty much everything underneath is interchangeable. And so this is what this is. It's a 78 Monte Carlo. G bodies go from 78 all the way through 88, and I think that's the last of the G bodies. Monte Carlo, Cutlass, Grand Prix. But anyways, you got any questions? Shoot me some questions. I'll try to help you as best I can. But until then, we'll see you on the strip. Hey, so here we are out for a quick roll. I think pretty much the only thing I forgot to mention on these cars is the smog. Obviously, every car needs a smog in California every 2 years. Anything 74 and older does not need a smog check. 75 and up will need a smog check. So 75 and up, you're more so going to have to know what you're doing to make sure that car passes smog. And my smog guy, I want to give a shout out to my smog guy, Leo Smog in Fresno, California. See that? Leo hooks it up. Hopefully it's not coming up backwards on videos. Probably is. But Leo's right there on 8th Street in Divisadero. Hella cool, straight up. And he doesn't shy away from smogging old cars, which a lot of people do. But hit up Leo, like I said, in Fresno, 8th Street in Divisadero. I'm not getting paid for that. He's hooked me up time and time again, and he takes care of me in these old cars. But more so than anything, on these cars that need a smog 75 and up, you really do want to know what you need to know what you're doing. Unless you got a good mechanic in the house, in the family, or someone that you can pay to take care of it. But carburetors is the biggest problem for these cars that need a smog. As long as your carburetor is good, rebuilt, in good condition, other than that, you shouldn't have too much of a problem. Just make sure your idles are down and your timing is right where it's supposed to be. You should be good. But I think that was the last thing, was a smog. Again, 74 and down, you do not need a smog. So you're pretty much at will to put in whatever you want under the hood and roll with that. So, but like I said, these cars are a joy to drive. It's a little cool here still in Central California, Fresno County, but you can still roll with the sunroof open, the windows up, and you're still pretty comfortable. But anyways, but all right, folks, kids, hope you enjoy. Like I said, you got any comments or questions, shoot them down below. I'll do the best I can to hook you up, help you out. All right, take care.